why do you lose your value when you lose the job? Nothing that you do separate from identity has anything to do with your worth.
Yeah.
Like, I worked with one of the biggest actors in the world. This person really has no self-worth. And then I looked in the mirror and was like, oh man, you were on TV, you did this. Yeah, but I'm still a loser. I had a beautiful girlfriend, I had money, I had all these different things. Poor people show off wealth, rich people conceal it. And you've got the ability to put out a message that can help someone. No one can tell me that a person is committing suicide that truly values themselves. The reason there's an identity crisis is because there's a fundamental need.
Yeah.
What is an identity? Why do you lose your value when you lose the job? It's because the job was your value.
Yeah.
Because there is no internal value without the job.
See, that's the thing that does happen for sure. You've
no
seen
question
it a million
about it.
times. I've seen it a million
No question about it.
The one positive thing I will say about kind of using it as a piece of your identity, but not your entire identity. Like for example, the Marine Corps, just as an example. Okay, if you make that your entire identity and then when you get out, you're going to be lost. You're going to be like, what am I doing? What am I? You know? Mm-hmm. But if that's just a piece of who you are as a person, that can be a positive thing if you just make sure that it's just a piece and not the entire thing. Because like, just for example, Marines are expected to maintain an extremely high standard. They're supposed to be people that care about other human beings. They are supposed to be folks that are can be depended on by their community. You're supposed to have a high ethical and moral compass. You're supposed to carry yourself to be an ambassador of this organization, even if you get out. And so that's all a positive thing. Like, yeah. Where like you go back out into society, like the Marine Corps produces, and the other branches do the same thing, but the Marine Corps is supposed to produce better citizens than those people were when they first got there. And so that way, when they get out, because everyone gets out eventually, you go back out into society and you are a better representation of what it means to be a good American citizen. And you're supposed to assimilate with American culture, but you have like that piece of your identity to be like, I have to make sure that I am a good representation of this organization, even if I'm not part of that organization anymore. So that can be a positive thing. However, going back to what you said, it can't be your entire personality because then you're going to be lost. It's only going to last for so long. It's not going to hold up all the time because you need to be able to find who you are as a person outside of that, because that's not your entire personality. That's not your entire identity. Maybe you're a father. Maybe you like to go fishing. Maybe you want to be a pro bass fisherman. Maybe you want to be a hunter. Maybe you want to be known for being a bow hunter. Maybe you want to be a musician. Maybe you get out and you're like, you know what? I want to be known for being a pianist, or maybe you want to sing. Any of this stuff, that's like, this can be a part of your story, but it doesn't have to make up your entire personality. You know what I mean? Like the guy that played Kylo Ren. You know who that is?
Yeah, it was a Marine. What's his name? Adam Driver.
Adam Driver. So yeah. Adam Driver, former Marine, right? He was a mortarman out in 1st Marine Division.
Ooh, poor bastard.
He probably had a hard time because when he got,
he was a mortarman.
First off, he was a mortarman. Second off, he got medically separated and he dealt with a lot of regret.
I don't think
when he got medically separated, his unit deployed and he didn't go. And so he got out getting separated.
I think it worked out for him.
But first off, it worked out for him. Second off, he found an identity and was able to form an identity for himself. But at the same time, that still remains a piece of his story, a piece of his life. Mm-hmm. And I've seen lots of TED Talks that he's done about how important that was and how it shaped him as a person.
Yeah.
But that didn't define his entire personality, his entire character. And he's been able to find himself since then. Yeah. And so that's kind of what I mean about how it becomes a piece of your story. It's a piece of your puzzle in this big puzzle. It's just one of those puzzle pieces. It's always going to be there, but that doesn't make that one piece of the puzzle doesn't create the entire puzzle. There's like a million other pieces there that form this whole thing that is you as a human being, you know?
Yes. The thing that I've learned is those identity pieces are also separate from value.
Oh, yes.
And
100%.
And here's what I mean by that. So I was, in special operations.
Yeah.
Okay. I left that. Separate from my identity, you had my value.
Yeah.
So let's say I lost my value and I lost my identity when that job was gone. Okay, great. Now I go work in Hollywood and I do relatively pretty well.
Yeah.
Great. Now I've got a new identity and I've got a new value that's replaced the old value.
Yeah.
But the thing that I've learned, then I write a book. I've done all these things. And what I'm trying to explain to people is that nothing that you do separate from identity has anything to do with your worth.
Yeah.
Like, I worked with one of the biggest actors in the world. Couldn't have been a bigger star. Was a great actor. Was obviously super rich, super famous.
Yeah.
And we got along great. Great person. But I came to find out over time, like, this person really has no self-worth at all.
Yeah.
And it kind of shocked me. And I kind of looked at him and went, like, that's so weird.
Yeah.
And I looked at it as odd. And there was certain behaviors that they were doing that I was like, why would they be doing this? And it occurred to me, oh my gosh, the self-worth issue.
Yeah.
And then I was kind of looking at it, thinking how strange it was. And then I looked in the mirror and was like, oh man, I'm guilty too.
Yeah.
Because so many people look at me and you go, oh, you were in this unit. You were on TV. You did this. And yet the whole time I was going, yeah, but I'm still a loser.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did do those things, but I'm still not cool. I'm still that nerd kid who's getting picked on in my head.
Yeah.
Because every night I promise I'm telling my stuff more negative things than anyone's telling me. There's no question about it.
Yeah. I am my own worst enemy too.
We all are. And that's the point that I'm making is until you stop telling yourself those things, it doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah.
The identity will never give you worth. The job will never give you nothing, money, fame, freaking, nothing external will ever be enough if you internally don't believe that you are.
Yeah.
And that internal belief has to be based on nothing external, because if it's not, if your internal belief of worth is based on, I call them trophies.
Yeah.
I had a cabinet of trophies. I had a beautiful girlfriend. I had money. I had all these different things. And then when they were gone, so was my worth, because my worth was based on that trophy case.
Yeah. External things.
External things. Your worth has to be based on nothing. It has to be based on, if I had nothing, if I was in a float tank,
yeah,
you know, with nothing, just me swimming in my own mind.
Yeah.
What am I worth then?
Yeah.
And until you feel like you're worth something, then doesn't matter what you have outside of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's super valuable. I mean, you know, especially with the way that social media and everything is, and the way that the way that communication is, and how everybody kind of like is comparing themselves to things that they see online. And, you know, that a lot of the stuff a lot of the ways that people portray themselves online is way over the top, because that's how they're trying to get the engagement, whether it be people that are filming short content on fake jets to make it look like they have all that weird crap, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of weird stuff going on, and that I'll never understand that kind of stuff. And then there's also people that are like showing videos of them throwing around tons of money, or they're showing like, hey, look how much money I made on this app, and they're showing people out online. It's like, you don't know anything about that. There's no way to verify that stuff. There's no way to verify like how this person like perceives themselves, like not from that video anyway. But yeah, it all comes from internally.
Poor people show off wealth. Rich people conceal it.
Yeah. That's a good one. And also,
and you know why rich people conceal wealth?
Yeah.
It's risky.
Yeah, it is risky.
It's risky. It makes you a target.
Yeah, that's one of the things I've always been so surprised about when I see these young kids that are like in their early 20s that are showing like, hey, look how much millions of dollars I make each month. I'm like, dude, in this day and age where there's people that will like find your grid coordinates based on like geolocation,
you can literally, there's a way that you can take, let's say, I'm, you know, some influencer that takes a shot on my balcony, and it's like showing out in Miami, whatever.
Yeah.
There's an app that you can reverse that perspective, and basically see the balcony that it was
the exact
shot
floor.
Yeah. There's an app, or maybe it's a program done. Yeah, but it can be done. It's not hard.
No,
it's technology.
And if that's just something that basic person could find out, then the people that are like real bad guys that are looking to rob people, that's how you end up getting like. There's this one influencer girl that was a Twitch streamer that like posted a picture of like her crypto bank account or something like that at one point, and then her house got broken into by a bunch of armed gunmen. It's like, that's the kind of thing that's going to happen in this day and age. You can't be just like showing anything like that. It
just happened. I want to say 3 days ago in Chicago, some dude, you know, who posts money stuff all the time on Instagram, he was gone, and they freaking broke in, and luckily his wife ended up, you know, shooting the pregnant wife, ended up shooting the burglar. But yeah, like it was, you know, him posting money stuff and someone broke in their house, and she luckily, survived it. But man, it's just, and again, look, when you post any of the stuff like that, and I struggle with posting. I really do. I don't, it's hard. I'm too old for this. I'm a Gen Xer, man. I'm like a Gen Xer. I didn't grow up with social media. So it's a struggle. But at the same time, it's like with my book, I believe in the message. And so I want to put stuff out there to help people. But if I'm being honest, I'm going against really my fundamental nature. That's just not who I am. So it's an interesting balance, because it's like you like when you get a certain number of followers, which I'm sure probably for you, same with me. I don't know how the hell it happened, to be honest with you. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, then you get to this point where you're like, well, I've got kind of this ability to help people. Yeah. And aren't I kind of an asshole if I don't do something with that? So it's like this really strange dichotomy where I just kind of feel guilty if I don't kind of put out a positive. I cannot do a post without it having some kind of positive message. It's I just can't do it. Which is why I don't post that often, because it's like, it feels like so much work to constantly feel like I just can't post something unless I feel like it's giving something. Yeah. And that's my own shit, that's no one else's, but
no, I like that. I mean, I feel the same way. Like I a lot of the stuff I do is like informational. I want to provide something of value to people. I think that's really at the end of the day, like it's like providing a service. Like if you're providing something of value, whether it be information, whether it be education, motivation, inspiration, like perspiration. Yeah. Anything like that, then if it's providing some value to somebody's life out there, and it could benefit them in some positive way, even if it's just situational awareness about something. But that's one of the reasons why I think podcasts are so valuable, why I've decided to like really get hard on it, because I think that there's messaging that we need out there for people that is missing sometimes. Dude. At the end of the day, there's a lot of nonsense out there. There's a lot of people gloating about their successes, a lot of people showing off, a lot of people doing show and tell, a lot of brain rot that doesn't do anything positive. So I think this type of stuff, if you can somehow filter this out into the ethos and into the ether, so that somebody could potentially trip over it, maybe it could help somebody. Even if it's only one person, that's one more than was helped the other day, or one more person that was impacted, And a lot of these people out there may not have mentors, may not have their parents, they may not have anybody there to look up to, and maybe they just somehow stumble upon a clip of you, or the podcast, how that works too. And they're like, oh my God, I needed to hear that.
The amount of times I've posted things maybe in the past, and there'd be one message that would be like, I needed to hear that today. Okay.
Yeah, me too, man.
That's why I did it. Right? Yeah. And it's crazy. And again, let's be honest, we've been talking for a bit about kind of the downside of social media. Yeah. But let's be honest, like everything, there's two sides to everything. And the positive side of social media is that, I mean, you've got the ability to put out a message that can help someone. When I started like following inspirational things on Instagram or whatever, I was like, it was crazy how much it changed my feed. Yeah. In a way that I was like, oh, and then suddenly it was positive, and suddenly I was learning from almost every post, not doom scrolling, the micro learning versus doom scrolling. It's pretty wild. So, social media is like anything. It's a tool, and really the effect of that tool depends on how you use it in the person using it. Yeah. But look, I think, as we kind of talked about, I want to kind of swing the self-worth thing into this, which is, dude, no one can tell me, I don't care who you throw at me, no one can tell me that a person is committing suicide that truly values themselves. Yeah. Ain't happening. Yeah. And it's a self-worth issue. Yeah. They have so little self-worth that they're taking their own life. Yeah. You're not taking your own life because you feel great about yourself.
Oh no. You're in a deep, bottomless, dark pit that you feel like you can't get out of.
Maybe in terms of extreme disease but that's not really what we're talking about. Yeah. It's like when it comes to like, veteran and first responder suicide, it's a self-worth issue fundamentally. And then let me also say this about PTSD. Oh, PTSD. Do we agree that identity crisis is a big problem in the veteran community? Yeah. Yes. Loss of purpose. Yep. Yes. Loss of community. Yes. Do any of those three things have anything to do with PTSD?
Not really, no.
Nothing. They have nothing to do with PTSD.
Yeah.
So the reason that the suicide epidemic is growing is because we're focusing on 4 letters and ignoring things that we know for a fact are part of the problem.
Yeah.
And the more we focus
Self-worth being like the focal
the
point.
critical, we're ignoring those
crux.
4 things and just focusing on PTSD. And here's another interesting thing. Is PTSD specific to the military?
No.
Who can have PTSD?
Anybody.
For what?
For anything that's traumatic in any way.
Which is a very subjective term at this point.
Yeah, at this point it is very.
So just think of this logically. If anyone can have PTSD for damn near anything, well, then how could that logically then be our specific problem?
Yeah. No, that's true. I mean, I've seen people say they had PTSD for being called the wrong name or something. So I'm not going to get into that. But we could. That's
trauma is subjective.
Yeah, trauma is subjective.
Trauma is subjective.
Yeah.